the most valuable thing that you'll do in business and relationships is simply put a smile on your face. And this is a thing that with my son, what I found, I keep telling him all the time, if you put a smile on your face and you make eye contact with people, you love on them as much as possible, everything else will fall in line. And the other day I was on my walk, actually yesterday, and I was talking with my friend. I got to stop, and his name is Mike Bender. You know exactly who you are, Mr. Mike. You're an absolute inspiration. The guy is of the highest character, and he's taught me so many things just from observing, not just the things that he's talked about, but the friendship that we've been able to foster over the years. And what I noticed is as I was walking with Ziggy, our new little puppy. If you haven't got the chance to see Ziggy, he is a handsome guy, but he is a handful. He dive bombs people. He's got all this energy, and Mr. Mike has a dog named Bella, and Bella is very chill, super sweet. And here comes Ziggy, and he just jumps and tries to bite her ears and does all stuff. Well, you could tell that Bella was like, I ain't trying to have this. That puppy energy was unreal. And I started to ask myself, is there times where I have puppy energy? Is there times where I come at something so strong that I'm passionate about, that I'm excited about, but that it comes off to other people as like, just back off a little bit. You need to kill that puppy energy for a second. Well, my wife, Brooklyn, and I, we made the most genius and I think wise decision of all time. And we were counseled by two members of our circle that I think that was a great thing. So in this decision, we sat down with our daughter who's 15 and our son who's 12, who had just saw a bucket of puppies while we were on vacation, and asked them, do you think we should get one? Well, obviously the answer was yes. And you know what came next? We'll do everything. We'll walk them. We'll clean up the poop. We'll make sure that everything is good. And guess who is taking care of that puppy? My wife. She's taking care of Ziggy. Now, my kids, they've done what they can, but at 12 and 15, you have no idea what you're taking on when you take on a puppy. And I think the biggest part was the puppy energy. And, our dog who's 9 years old, who's Skylar, hasn't enjoyed the puppy energy, to say the least. She has been growling at him. She's a very nice dog. She's super calm. She's super chill. But she was like, you just rocked my world. Why'd you bring this little Tasmanian devil into the place? Now, he's as sweet as could be. He's handsome, but he's got this puppy energy. And as I walked away from Mr. Mike yesterday on my dog walk, and my dog had just really disrupted Bella's day, his calm dog, with this puppy energy, the dive bombing, the biting the ears, all over the place, I started to ask myself, is there times in my relationship with Mr. Mike where I have puppy energy? And so that it was incredible, because then I went home and in Proverbs 17, which was yesterday, we didn't get a chance to be able to record yesterday, and but in Proverbs 17 it listed it out and it talked about puppy energy. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Puppy energy. So I went home and God humbled me in this. And so if you're watching right now, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the comments. If you have a prayer request, pop it up there. Or even if you have a question or just a comment, it means the world to see you here and to be joining me on the podcast. And I tell you, my puppy energy, when we started off this Inchstones, January 6th is when I started doing the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. And I was just in. I was like, I'm going to write it out. I'm not going to tell any stories. I'm just just doing the meat. So if you go back to those episodes, you'll see that we just go through and I basically read the word to you, read the proverb. I was so excited about it that I think that sometimes, because I get so excited and so passionate about something, even though I have a good intention in my heart, I want to get this stuff out, sometimes it comes off as puppy energy. And I've been very, very, very conscious of this in the last couple of days. And so the first one in verse 21 or 24 and verse 1, it started off with, and this is what God said to me. He said, pipe down, God knows, and you know, and that's enough. I don't know about you, but every single time that I have something great in my life happen, I want to share it. I want to share it as much as possible. I want to share the fact that if this thing worked, I can help other people to work. Well, this happened in our business years ago. So, I grew up in Lompoc, California. Shout out to the Central Coast. I absolutely love Lompoc, California, and Cabrillo High School. Big shout out there. And, so growing up the way that we did, the fact that I had a job that I liked, or even maybe had a job, I was super excited. And so, I remember, starting to break through some things, starting to see some different things in my business and in my life, and got to travel the world because of Paul Mitchell and doing these things. I was like, oh my gosh, here's this system. And if you take a hold of this system, it will work because it's worked for me. And I came from Lompoc. And then I started to lose the backstory of it. And I just started to tell people, just do this. Well, I had puppy energy in it. And a lot of times I would freak people out because I would take a 19-year-old and I would say, look at what's possible in your life. Look what the whole world is open up to you. And I would open up the world to them right then, as opposed to understanding and knowing how to release that over time. And I turned a lot of people off. And I learned this because my mom one time came into the house, and she had came back in. She went out back and she came back in and she said, oh my gosh, there's a rattlesnake outside. Well, my mom was an exaggerator, so we thought there was like an earthworm outside. And I walked out, and sure enough, there was like a 2 or 2.5 foot rattlesnake. And I did this smart thing, which is grabbed a broom and smacked it with a broom. It coiled up and started striking. And I was like, oh, but it's just a baby rattler. Well, anybody who knows anything about animals, or especially reptiles, which I didn't know at the time, a baby rattlesnake is the most dangerous because it doesn't know how to control its venom. And so if it bites, it releases everything right then. And I thought about that as I was thinking about this puppy energy. And, God wants to reassure us that when something good happens, number one, pipe down. Because Ozzie Newsome said it like this when he scored his first touchdown. He scored that touchdown, and when he did, his mentor told him, not to spike the ball, not to dance up and down, things like that. He said, act like you're going to be here again. And that was such a simple thing. But what God was saying in this in verse 1 and verse 24, pipe down, God knows, you know, and that's enough. And so it's not for us to celebrate. And I know this is counterculture because everything that we do, we want to celebrate as much as possible. And in the event that we don't celebrate it, it's as if it didn't happen. Am I correct on this? So in verse 2 and 25, it talked about hard work, dedication, and talent. But watch this. Hard work and dedication beats talent, although the two combined seldom take the L. Sit in that for a second. Hard work and dedication beats talent, although all three, when I said two combined, all three combined, when you take hard work, dedication, and talent, you combine them, it seldom takes an L. And that's in verse 2 and 25. So again, it goes to a side of like, pipe it down. If you have the talent, just put in the work, dedicate yourself to it. And guess what? The great things will happen, but you don't have to shout them at the top of at the top of the mountain all the time. And I fall victim to this. A lot of times I'm on vacation with my kids and I think, oh, we're at Disneyland. I need to make sure that everyone knows that we're at Disneyland. Does everyone need to know? No, not really. But I take the time away from my family to snap the picture, to put the post up, to show a bunch of people who aren't that important to me, as they aren't as important to me as the people who I'm hanging with. And so that's the crazy thing for me, right? So in verse 2 and 25, it talks about that. Hard work and dedication beats talent, although the three combined seldom take the L. This one, I got a text from my buddy Justin Williams, and if you haven't met Justin Williams, he has Sage Mortgage Advisors in Salt Lake City. He's an unbelievable guy. And in verse 3, 10, 12, 21, talked about humble pie comes in hot. I can tell you this, like I've never had a time where I've got humbled, where it was like nice and soft and easy to be able to consume. Every single time that I've got a piece of humble pie, it's been hot and it's been burning and it's not very comfortable at all. And so if we go back to the first one, pipe it down, because God knows you know, and that's enough. If we go back to that and we lock into that, then we get ourselves prepared, because the humbling is coming. The humility will come. And I promise on this part of it. So in verse 4, 5, 6, 7, 18, 27, and 28, this one I guess is very important because it's a bunch of verses. It just said, watch your mouth. Like, watch your mouth. Watch what you say. Watch what you say to make it good. Watch what you say if it's going to be silly. Watch what you say and take thought of the future, which is prudence. In verse 8, 16, and 23, this one was probably one of my favorites, which is you can't buy game. You cannot buy game. No matter if you buy the greatest things in the whole entire world, you grab the best situations that you possibly can. None of it, absolutely none of it, will give you game. And so, like, in verse 8, 16, and 23, it talks about this, that you cannot buy game. You have to earn that. And so with this puppy energy, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll have something happen, and then we want to scream it to the world. We want to scream it to every single person. And everyone around us is saying, calm it down, bro. Like, as long as you know and God knows, everything's going to be cool. And also, too, it doesn't matter all the things that you do. That's not going to make you cool. It's not going to give you game. You have to earn it. And in verse 9, 13, 15, 19, 20, 22, and 26, your heart will determine your foundation. And so I think a lot of times because I want to show, and this is what my Pastor Jason Graves was talking about today, a lot of times because I want to show the world the outside of me, because I want to make sure that the outside looks great. The outside looks shiny. It looks as good as possible. And sometimes I'm trying to almost cover up a little bit of what is actually happening. But what God was saying in this, in verse 9, 13, 15, 19, 20, 22, and 26, your heart will determine your foundation. And so build the inside first, build that part of it, and then you'll find that your energy will be less likely to be that puppy energy. Now, there's times for puppy energy. In the morning, this morning, I got a chance to be able to spend time with Ziggy, and he was so much fun, to have fun. We're playing all the stuff, but I was ready for it. I was prepared for it. Not everybody is prepared for puppy energy at any particular time. In verse 12 and 14, it talks about poking the bear never ends well. And if you've ever done this, if you ever got to a point where you poke the bear with the puppy energy, Ziggy's been doing this to Skylar a lot. Our 9-year-old dog ain't having it, and especially when she has a bone. When she has a bone and she's chewing on the bone and he gives that puppy energy, you better watch out, because she snapped at him the other day, and I never saw her like that. But I also told her, good girl, let him know, because sometimes that puppy energy needs to be tamed at the particular time. And in verse 17, as we end with this, is your friends don't care what you've done. They only care who you are. And this was a big, huge, hot piece of humble pie that I've had to learn, because coming from Lompoc, California, from my heart, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go and do all these things and then bring all my friends along and then show them, like, look what we've done, guys. And what I found was, when we got to the place where we got to sit front row at the UFC, or go to a club and get in first, or have the best bottle service, or have any of those things, or travel to different areas, or any of those things, my friends didn't care what I had ever done. They only cared who I was. And one of my buddies was telling me, his name is Dave, and I miss you, brother. Haven't got a chance to be able to hang out with you in a long time. And I just told him I miss him. And I said, you know, I really love to be able to connect. And he said, you know, I miss the old times where it was just you and I and just kind of hanging out, and it didn't have anything to do with anything else. And what hit me is I probably was hitting him with some puppy energy. I was probably hitting him with some puppy energy about things that I had done or things that I was trying to accomplish. And what he was trying to say to me is simply, I don't care about all those things. All I care about is you. All I care about is your friendship. And I tell you, as I read down this with puppy energy, I was like, oh man, I was taken back, because this was not about me grabbing this word like in the, you know, and in the future when you listen to Inchstones and things like that. This is not about judgment. It's not about me saying, oh, you need to do all these things. This is about me learning that, wow, I got hit with that. And what God revealed to me yesterday was just being excited or passionate is never the challenge, although sometimes the way we express it can turn people off. This drove home the fact that your vibe is not the energy that you bring into the room, but it is the way that people feel when you leave. Ziggy's one of the cutest creatures alive when you're prepared for his puppy energy. So I want to leave you with a couple of questions. Is when was the last time that someone brought puppy energy into a situation that didn't work? I want you to think about that person. I want you to think about that situation, how you felt. And then the last question here is when was the last time you brought puppy energy into the room and it killed the vibe? The trick is not to take puppy energy and get it completely away from you. It's to temper it and understand and to have discernment on when to bring it out. How do we get discernment? Discernment comes from insight. Insight comes from understanding. Understanding comes from knowledge. Knowledge has no value unless you have the right use of knowledge, which is wisdom. And where do we get wisdom? The beginning of all wisdom is the fear of God, which is the respect of him. And the only way we can respect him is if we spend time with him and we see that his words and actions are in line, which they always will be. And I just want to thank every single one of you for listening, for tuning in. And even though our cameras changed up and we're kind of crazy a little bit, but I want to thank you so much for being here with me. And another episode of Inchstones. Tune in, share it with your friends. Make sure pop over to Amazon, grab the book, The Vibe. You guys see that one. It's in the link in the bio. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we